Can you guess which amigurumi toy was made with a budget-friendly yarn and which one was made with a more expensive yarn? In fact, the more expensive yarn is almost 3 times more expensive than the budget-friendly yarn. Can you guess which one is which? Today's video is going to be perfect for you if you've ever wondered if a budget-friendly yarn is better for amigurumi or a more expensive yarn. And I set out to test out which one is better for amigurumi. I chose one yarn that is super budget-friendly and the other is more expensive, and I made 2 of these little drummer boys from Crochet to Play's brand new pattern, the 12 Days of Christmas. The idea for this video has been rummaging around in my old noggin for a little while now. It was when I did the video on how to test yarn for amigurumi that I got this idea to test out 2 different yarns, one super budget friendly and one more expensive yarn. When the wonderful folks from Premier Yarns invited me to their headquarters, which is only 15 minutes away from my house, I was so excited to meet them, to meet the owner, to meet the sales team, to meet the creative people. They are so wonderful, and it was so amazing to see the inner workings of a yarn company. And they sent me home with a huge box of yarn, and I was so excited about it. They wanted to know my opinion about which of their yarns worked great for amigurumi, so I tested all 10 of them. I actually have a whole video about that test and also give you an idea about how you can test yarn for yourself when you get a new skein of yarn, whether or not it's going to work well for amigurumi. I tested those yarns for 5 different characteristics: softness and feel, stitch definition, color selection, strength for seaming, and splittiness. And while I fell in love with so many of the Premier yarns, 2 of them stood out to me for amigurumi. Now, both of these yarns have great characteristics for amigurumi, but they come at 2 different price points. I want you to guess which one of these toys do you think was made with the budget-friendly yarn. Is it A, this little drummer boy? I'll let you look at him closely and see what you think. Or do you think it's B? Here they are side by side. Let me know if you think it's A or B, and at the end of the video, I will share the big reveal. Before we move on, let's check in with today's sponsor, Premier Yarns. I am so happy to be partnering with Premier Yarns for this video because they are a locally owned company. Their headquarters is literally 15 minutes away from my house. Premier Yarns started in 2005 right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and they have over 90 different yarn lines. You might find Premier Yarns in your local craft stores, but they also have a very well-organized website that you can shop from. And when you're shopping online, make sure you scroll all the way down to see the different free patterns that they have featuring those yarns. It's a wonderful way for you to get an idea if the yarn's going to work well for your project, or it might give you an idea for a brand new project. And what's even better is that Premier Yarns is offering all of you 20% off. Make sure to use the code 20% LPSC at checkout. The offer expires January 24th, 2023, and it's 1 coupon per customer. And I just want to thank Premier Yarns for sponsoring today's video. As soon as the idea to test 2 different yarns started bubbling up in my brain, I got a message from Jennifer from Crochet to Play. She wanted to know if I wanted to try out her brand new pattern, the 12 Days of Christmas, and I thought, bingo, this is the exact kind of project I wanted to test these 2 yarns with. Jennifer's pattern is full of the iconic characters from the song The 12 Days of Christmas. You can use them as holiday decor, little gifts for a child, or even make them into Christmas ornaments. It comes with all 12 patterns: a partridge in a pear tree, 2 turtle doves, 3 French hens, 4 calling birds, 5 golden rings, 6 geese a-laying, 7 swans a-swimming, 8 maids a-milking, 9 ladies dancing, 10 lords a-leaping, 11 pipers piping, and 12 drummers drumming. I had a hard time picking which one I wanted to do, but I knew that I needed to make 2 of the exact same pattern so that I could really compare them side by side. I ultimately chose the 12 drummers drumming because my actual favorite Christmas song is The Little Drummer Boy. It makes me cry every single Christmas. Now that I had the perfect pattern, it was time to get to work, and I chose the Premier Yarns Anti-Pilling Everyday Worsted and the Premier Basics. The Anti-Pilling Everyday Worsted comes in 67 different colors. The price is is $4.99 for a 3.5 ounce skein. And that actually comes out to $1.42 per ounce. Although this isn't considered a super expensive yarn, it definitely is more expensive than what we would call a budget-friendly yarn. And what I really love about this yarn is that the colors are so absolutely spectacularly gorgeous. The other great thing about this yarn is that it is very high-tech. It is anti-pilling. It doesn't mean that it will never pill in a million years. If you made a sweater with it and you washed it 400 times, that it wouldn't get one little teeny tiny pill. But for the most part, normal wear and tear, you're not going to see any pilling with this yarn. It's a lighter worsted than the Premier Basics. I use the colors Cappuccino, Butter, Cloudy Day, Really Red, Snow White, and Black. And what's even better is that this yarn has over 800 5-star reviews. Premier Basics is a super budget-friendly yarn that comes in 81 different colors. The price is $3.79. Pickle. The price is $3.79 for a Pickle. Do you have a favorite? Which one of these yarns do you like? Oh, you like that one? Is that soft? Pickle, please. I'm trying to work. The yarn is $3.79 for a full 7 ounces. If you get the marls, the multis, or the tweeds, it's 5 ounces. That comes out to around 54 cents per ounce, and that's what I call budget friendly. It's almost 3 times cheaper than the anti-pilling everyday worsted. It's definitely a heavier worsted weight yarn, and it has over 500 5-star reviews on the website as well. One of the things that I noticed about the reviews is that a lot of people commented on how soft it is for the price, because a lot of super budget friendly yarns are really scratchy. I mean, my grandma used to crochet a lot of very scratchy acrylic blankets back in the 70s and 80s, but this is not your grandma's budget friendly yarn. I almost grabbed the drummer boy that was used with this yarn, and I would have given away the surprise, but here are the colors that I used. Buff, lemon, light gray, red, white, and black. Are you ready for the big reveal? Are you ready to find out which one was made with the super budget friendly yarn and which one was made with the more expensive yarn? Okay, I'm gonna hold them up. Look at them side by side. This is A and this is B. Which one do you think it is? It was A. This one is made with the Premier Basics and this one was made with the anti-pilling everyday worsted. Did you guess right? Did you know? Could you tell? What's really interesting about this experiment was that I was very, very surprised that there isn't a whole lot of difference, but we're going to talk about some of the differences, but I was really shocked. I thought that there would be huge differences between a super budget friendly yarn and a more expensive yarn, but I was wrong. Now I know the next question that you're going to ask me is which one did I like working with better? One of these yarns is definitely not better than the other. It really depends on the application. It depends on what you're looking for. For this experiment, I used a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook for both of them. Even though the Premier Basics is a heavier worsted weight, it worked perfectly. You can see that the little drummer boy A is a bit bigger than the smaller drummer boy, but that just has to do with the fact that it's a heavier worsted weight than the anti-pilling everyday worsted. First of all, both of these yarns are fantastic for amigurumi. You could not go wrong choosing one or the other. But if budget is your number one concern, definitely choose the Premier Basics. And I want to share a little bit with you about what I thought. I have been a little afraid of budget-friendly yarns, and the reason why, I think it goes back to my grandma. My grandma made the most scratchy Afghans from very budget-friendly yarns. She did a beautiful job, and these blankets are very well made, and we still have them decades later. But the problem is that they are super scratchy and nobody really wants to use them because of that. And so I think I got turned off to those budget-friendly yarns that you see in the store because I thought, oof, I don't want to use that. They look scratchy, but this is not that kind of yarn. The Premier Basics is soft and it felt great in my hands. And I think that this little guy turned out so cute with budget-friendly yarn. I know, I'm shocked. I thought that he wasn't going to look quite as good as the more expensive yarn. But really, when you look at them side by side, there aren't a lot of differences. Now, there is one little difference, and I'll tell you about that here in just a minute. The Premier Basics is perfect if you need a toy that has some structure to it. If you need those little ears to perk up or a leg to be really straight and taut, this is a great yarn for that. If you want a yarn with a lot of different color choices, this one has 81, and one of the best parts is that it comes with a lot of skin tones. I have been looking for a budget-friendly budget-friendly yarn that had a lot of skin color choices, and the Premier Basics has all of that. This is also a great yarn if you love a heavier worsted weight for your amigurumi projects. Let's talk a little bit about the anti-pilling everyday worsted. I feel like I've been saying anti and anti. I've probably been switching back and forth between pronouncing that word two different ways, so I just realized that. Anyway, if you're planning on making toys that are going to get a lot of cuddles and hugs and you're going to need to throw it in the wash every now and then, I would probably go with the anti-pilling everyday worsted. See, I said anti this time, not anti. You will really like this one if you want a yarn that doesn't pill. Also, if you like a lighter worsted weight, and if you want a yarn that comes in a lot of gorgeous colors. And what's great about this yarn is that there are a lot of different skin tone colors, and it's wonderful to have those choices in an anti-pilling yarn as well. So the main difference between the two yarns is definitely size. The Basics makes a slightly bigger toy, and the anti-pilling everyday worsted makes a slightly smaller toy. But the other difference, and one that you need to consider when you are wanting to crochet toys, is details. The Premier Basics definitely can make nice details, but the anti-pilling everyday worsted can make finer details. If you're making a toy that has a lot of small, fine details, you will likely be happier with the anti-pilling everyday worsted. If you can see on the drums here, this is where you can really see the difference between these two yarns. The Basics has a thicker yarn, and it just isn't quite as fine of a detail. If you look at it on this little drum, you can see that it is a little more crisp, a little more detailed, a little more fine. I hope you enjoyed this little experiment, and make sure to get 20% off if you shop with Premier Yarns by using the code 20% LPSC at checkout. And make sure to check out Jen's new pattern, The 12 Days of Christmas. I'll leave a link for it in the description box below. I want to know if you guessed right. Did you know that it was Drummer Boy A that was made with the super budget friendly yarn? And I would love to know, what are your favorite yarns to crochet amigurumi with? But stay safe out there and happy stitching.